Alright guys, before I get started with this video, I want to thank Chris X Outdoors. You can find him on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. He's just getting his channel started. Makes some very good quality videos with some high-tech equipment that I wish I had the time and the means to be able to do, since I'm a fellow communication major. Anyways, the item that was missing, the recoil cover, he generously gave this to me, and we're just gonna, I do have to put the 5/16 inch nuts on it. And that completes the look for this mower. Thank you, Chris. I'll put his channel link in the description below if y'all want to go give him a subscription. I think he's about at 100-ish subscribers right now. So let's build his channel up, guys. He did a very generous thing by giving me this. So, part 2 of the Snapper. Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome to Ellis Mowers. We are on part 2 of, I guess it's a pair of snappers, but we're definitely fixing this one right here. Just as a reminder of what they are from one of my neighbors. Brought them over here. I think he's got a third that he might bring over here at some point. But we're going to fix this first one here. It's the newer one. And we did a bunch of things to it in the first video, in part 1 that y'all just saw a couple days ago. What was it? Gas cap, flywheel key, a few other small things, just to see if we could get it going. And we got it going, but the flywheel key was advanced just a little bit, and so it would get at that top, I guess the top of the compression stroke, if I remember right. And it would have just enough timing advanced in order to kick it over and fire. After I replace the flywheel key, it does not now, and that's indicative we either have a worn out camshaft or a bad automatic compression release. So we got to get into this and fix that. The neighbor gave me the go ahead to do it, and so we're going to go ahead and do it for him. Got all the parts here, so let's go ahead and get started. And just to give you all a refresher of the, I guess, the details / specifics of the mower. Snapper 33-inch high vac. It is a 16 horsepower Intek Briggs. That's why we've got the issue with the ACR on it. It's been a while since I've taken a snapper apart, the engine off of a snapper. I do know there's a friction disc and everything that I've got to work around under it. So technically this shouldn't be too difficult, but we shall see. Let's lift it up and see if we can get some synopsis of what all we got to do under it. Battery in it. That does, but that's alright. Alright, real quick, because it's still got battery and gas in it. Alright, let's see what we got. So, where are our mounting bolts? I guess that's number 1 right there, isn't it? Number 2. 3 and 4 on the bottom. So it looks like the belt guide goes with the front 2 mounting bolts, and the rear 2 mounting bolts are just, they're going to be easy to get to. That's good. We'll have to take the friction disc off, which I believe is just a couple of Allen keys. You see the friction disc is a little worn, but it's still pulling just fine. All right, let me get that back down because I don't want that battery to go bad or acid to fall over the place. This thing is heavy. Alright. So that should be relatively easy. That friction disc is probably the hardest part about it. We're going to get the battery off of it. And take note, I got some ground wires right here that I've got to take off of it as well. And what else have we got going on here? No, we're good there, and we're good there. So I'm gonna go ahead, there's brand new oil in it and a brand new filter on it. But I put a new air filter on it. It's been months since I've looked at this thing. No, I didn't put a new air filter on it. Let me stand it on end, get the battery out of it, stand it on end, and we'll get the friction disc. I guess it's got those friction disc nuts or whatever that I've got to loosen up, and then that way we'll be able to get the rest of the engine off. I'm just going to take the whole shebang off like it is. Looks like I've just got to disconnect these wires, the wire to the starter, this ground wire, and the throttle cable, so it's really not too bad here. Has a self-healing carb spring apparently, because the carb spring had an issue with the springing back earlier. So good, I don't have to get into that. I might just take this whole shebang, carb and all, off, turn it over, and do some awesome work, because I've got to get under the gasket and all that. Mower's in decent condition, as you can see. I washed it with the super clean stuff. Got to get the oil filter off as well. I don't want to damage it. I want to keep that oil filter because it's brand new. So I've shown you the process. Let me get the battery out of it. I'll tilt it back on in. Hopefully it should be a little lighter this time. And we'll see about getting that friction disc, the friction disc nuts off. And then we will go about getting the engine off of this thing. Alright, so here's what I have done thus far. I have gotten the oil drained out of it. I took the gas tank off of it and the battery out of it, just to get all that out of the way. Unplugged what I told you I was going to unplug earlier, disconnect the throttle cable. So all this goodness is ready to go. The next step, I'm debating on what I want to do here, because what I could do is take the deck belt, because that's the deck belt. See if I can get the deck belt around the pulley here to get it off. But I don't really have a good way to take the pulley off of this in order to, or the deck pulley, to loosen the deck belt, because I've got to come over here and take off these screws here, and then take the deck belt loose from the pulley, and then try and work it around. What I had to do on the old, it's like an 80s snapper that I worked on years ago, it didn't have a hole that big where the engine mounts, so you had to take this pulley off in order to get it, or just take the Allen wrench loose in order to get it to pull up and out of the engine, or to pull the engine out of the frame, excuse me. So what I'm thinking I can do is I might do the same thing here, or, because I got to take it off either way, and I could just leave it down here And that way I can just, whenever I slide it on, I can just turn this wheel here and get it off. Let me see. I'm just trying to think of what was going to be easier for me to do here. Thinking out loud, guys, sorry. I know the less frustrating thing is going to be to lower this deck, which is great whenever you have the mower on its side here. Lower this deck, take these 4 10 or 7/16 off, get this cover off, we'll release the pressure on the pulley there. Unless I can get it right here. I don't think I can though. Or I could just take that pulley off right there. That'd be the easiest thing, wouldn't it? 7/16. 7/16. Hang with me, guys. Let's go ahead and do this live. Live to tape, whatever. I kind of want to show you all a detailed version of this. Apologize for any shakiness in the camera as I adjust my tripod here. We're going to get this pulley right here off. I think that's going to be the easiest thing to do. Got to get my ratcheting wrench set. I think that may be a half. Not on the back side. It's not a half on the back side there. 9/16. Yep. Alright, gotta get 9/16 to hold it. Stand by. Alright, here we go. Just pop that in there. Hopefully y'all can still see this. This is quite honestly the easiest way to go about this, I think. Because like I said, I think I can be a lot easier to take that Allen key loose and do all that mess off of the mower than try and work my way in and then work it back on under the mower. There's not a lot of working room when this thing's when this thing is on the bottom or sitting upright to work kind of under the engine. That's why it's good for it to come up like this. Take this bolt out. Just take that pulley off. Remember where all the washers go. Washer goes on top there. So that should have loosened the belt up good enough. Let's see. We got plenty of slack in the belt now, so let's see if we got enough to get it around that big pulley down here. Probably not for my luck, but hey, it's worth a shot, right? Of course, it's not enough. All right, I gotta get that cover off. Give me a second. Alrighty, y'all. So I ended up I took that pulley off, like y'all saw, and then that made it very easy once I got this cover off, just to release the tension of the remainder of the deck belt, and I was able to get that wrapped around. It looked like it was going to be near about impossible to do the whole Allen key thing while it was on the mower. So that opening, I don't know why they would make it smaller than the actual disc drive if they were going to make it that big to begin with, probably for service purposes. But while I've got it on top like this, or on its side, I'm going to go ahead and make it so that all these are finger loose, or finger tight, whatever, so that all these bolts will just come out pretty quickly. It's a 1/2 inch. Alright, 1/2 inch, right? I don't think I can get a ratcheting wrench in there because of the tight quarters. We can try. Yeah, gotta love it, right? But they do have access from the top, so what I'm going to do is loosen all of these 1/2 inch nuts on the top while I've got it like this to where they're finger loose, finger tight, whatever. It'd be finger loose if I'm loosening them right. That way those bolts just drop out and we just, you know, pull this engine off, the whole shabazz here. So let me work on that. No need to film that. I'll catch back up with y'all when I'm ready to pull this engine here in just a second. Alrighty, y'all, I got all 4 of them off. Of course, 3 of them turned great, and the last one, this pesky one over here, decided it wanted to have a little bit of fun with me. There's the washer. I gotta find the nut. Maybe it's there when we get it off. This thing should be able to pull off now, hopefully. Yeah. There we go. What is holding on? Nothing. Oh. All right. Here we go. I'll go and put this on a bench real quick. Holy moly. Whoa. Don't pick it up by the cover. Should know better than that. Should know better than that. People watch my channel, they'll be like, I am never going to have him work on my lawnmower. He is atrocious. I didn't break anything, thank God. Alright. So, let me see if I can get this thing turned over on its top. And of course we got a little gas leaking out, but what job is not a mess when it comes to riding mower engines? Not really a fan of how it's sitting like that. Let's see. Oh, I know what I can do. I'm gonna turn it another 90 degrees here. Alright, that way if it falls, it's falling sideways and not off the bench, right? Alright, so let me get this tiller out of the way. Clean up a little bit. We'll go ahead and get this pulley off. Hopefully it's not going to be too difficult. We can get the jaw pullers out if we need to. Yeah. Because it's just held on, I can show you. Man, I am so dumb to try and pick that thing up by the plastic cover. So you got an Allen key right there, an Allen wrench right there. I think you got one that also holds the pulley in right in there that we have to take out. That's what I remember about him. So I'm going to get those Allens out, and then we will continue on. Another reason why I don't like working on customers' mowers, because if I mess up my mower, it's on me. Well, then I take the hit either way, but nobody else is at a loss, if you know what I mean. So let me work on this. Get everything back, or take the Allen keys off, get that pulley off, and then we'll go ahead and take the sump off. Sump gasket and all that good stuff off next. Alright, y'all, so I'm not necessarily in a dilemma or anything, but I don't have a hex key set here at home apart from little keys like this, and these hex keys are on there so tight that I can't get them with just this set. So I've got to go buy me a hex key set, which I've been probably needing to buy one anyway, so it's not like it's the end of the world or anything like that. A little frustrating, but we will we'll get it. Because yeah, everything else here that I have here is not working, and I would hate to strip it out trying to use one of these where I can use a 1/2 inch, or it's a 3/16 is a standard, but I can't get it. So I'm going to go get a hex key set, I guess, the next time I'm out, later this evening or tomorrow, whenever, and go from there. That's just frustrating though. You got something, you're so close. All I gotta do is get this pulley off, and then it's bing bang boom, I'm done. And it's always something that's gonna hold you up, but those are the two screws I gotta get out for the hex, and if I can't get them out, then we're gonna have to we'll cross that bridge if we have to cross it, but I don't want to cross it. Well guys, if you get the right tools, it works beautifully. I got this hex bit set at AutoZone. Of course, you pay a premium because a lot of times people have to get stuff in a bind. Well, I wasn't in a bind, but I didn't want to have to drive 15 minutes one way to save $5. It turns out, side story, these are $23. I got a $20 reward at AutoZone, so it's likely only cost me $3. I can go get a gallon of oil or something there before my reward is up. So I'm just loosening these things up. Let's see if we can get this thing off. I mean, this worked beautifully. So get the right tools for the job, because apparently I don't have them. One comes all the way off. The other one doesn't, I don't think, but I might do it anyways. Yeah. I had to give it some encouragement, I believe. Well, we've got one of the problems down pat. Now we've just got to address the other, which might require some jaw pullers and or some heat. So let me figure that issue out, and I will get back to y'all on that. All right, y'all, 2 jaw puller trick worked here. Let's see. Pull this bad boy off. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. So what happens is there's this key right here that attaches, I guess, in the, we gotta get that out too. We'll drive that out with something. That should be the easy part considering what we just went through. So there's a key. One of the Allens goes, or one of the hex screws goes into this key to keep the drive disc from spinning. And the other one, you can see the implants. Let me show you. So one goes right there, as you can see. The other one went right there. And so that's where they went. Now I have to find something to get this key out with. There we go. Okay, great. Now I can take my, I believe they're 1/2 inch and the impact and just go to town. Take these off. All I'm going to do is take all these sump bolts off right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, what, 10 of them? This is an oil pump. This is what is on the Intek engines as well, since it's a pressure lube. But I think just those 10 bolts will get me off. So let me work on that next, and then we will pull the sump. This rest of this job should be relatively easy, to be honest with you. It's just a matter of if it works, you know. We're going to have to tear in here and see if it's actually a worn camshaft or if it is a broken compression release. Honestly, it's a toss-up between the two. I don't know. Hey y'all, it actually looks pretty good inside. The compression release looks like it's intact. Now, why would it not have wanted to start is the question. Why would it be difficult to turn over? Are the cam lobes worn? I'm not even sure. Wow, that thing just popped right out too, didn't it? What do y'all think? Is that even the right camshaft? That's interesting because it's intact. Why did it just come out like it did there? There's no way in the world it could just be a weak starter. That couldn't be it. Because that ACR is working, looks like it's working fine, don't know. Well, I can show it to you. That's a mystery. I was like, is the timing off? Did it skip a tooth? Do we have any broken teeth? I don't know, guys. I will replace the lifters on it. I will also do it's very clean on the inside as well. I don't see any sort of compression release residue or anything like that. So really clean on the inside. Everything that I see looks good. I just need to, I don't know. We're going to replace the gasket, and I guess we'll replace this unless well, where's that camshaft? Let me get the new camshaft, and we'll see if these lobes are worn here, but they really don't look like they're worn down very much. It couldn't just be a weak starter, because it's got had an issue with timing. Fixed the timing. So I wonder if it was off internally. I don't know. Let me get the other camshaft, and we will give it a look. Alright, I got the new aftermarket camshaft in, as well as the lifters. I already got it in there. I almost don't want to take it out now, but yeah, we'll do it just for kicks here. I don't honestly see much of an issue here, because if you look at the old and the new one actually seems to be a little bit heavier anyways than the old one. You've got the compression release still attached to this one, which is kind of crazy, because I totally thought that I would have an issue with compression release. Let me see if I can pop this one back in. Oh, it doesn't go in like that. It goes in like this, right? Okay. I might lube that up a little bit real quick before I put it in there, because it's got a little bit of a rust mark. I don't want to get off of it. Alright, let's put it in there. This thing just feels more heavy duty than the one that came out of it. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Lining up the timing marks as always, right there. We'll give it a little bit of a spin, hopefully here, and see if that works. Like I said, I already put the new lifters in it. I might just put the new gasket on it, make sure the valves are adjusted, and let it ride. I'm going to ask my folks on Instagram tonight to see what's going on, what they think it is. It can't just be a weak starter, because it was starting when the timing was off just slightly with the sheared key. So I don't know, guys. If I come up with any other ideas, or if other people give me ideas to try, we'll definitely try them though, because I don't want to put this back together and have the same issue again. Alright, new day here. Thank y'all for those that answered my question or helped me sort through the process. I asked it out on Instagram, and y'all gave great comments. My friend Mowers and Blowers, Henry, up on Long Island, Chris X Outdoors, both chimed in about the whole deal. We are, because the cams look good, we are kind of in agreement that it is possible that the camshaft skipped a tooth or two and got off timing, causing the issue that I'm having that's indicative of a bad automatic compression release. I keep looking at this old camshaft and I don't see where there's any damage to it. I know that it happens. I know that it has happened because I've seen a video or two out there about it. But I have never witnessed one firsthand. So we are kind of talking, and I want to say also Mr. B-Man 2000. He's also under the username Bronze Chicken on YouTube. And also Mr. Tecumseh chimed in. So thank y'all. Y'all helped me determine that I guess the best course of action is to just throw it back together and see what happens. What I'll do is just that. Y'all saw me take everything off. I'm going to go ahead and put everything back on, get the torque specs. I'll tell y'all what the torque specs are for these. And then we will do a valve adjustment since I put new lifters on it as well. And just hope and pray this thing cranks and runs like it's supposed to, right? Because if it does, well, we're not going to say if it doesn't because I don't have a clue. But y'all did see the difference. The one that I have in there, I don't want to take it back out because I don't have it at top dead center, and I'm ready to put this thing back together. But the one in it doesn't have, or the new one doesn't have the washers like this one does. And the compression release is different on it. So I'm wondering if that's going to impact anything. We will find out because I'm about to put this thing back together. I have to scrape off the gasket first. I've got a new gasket right here. I didn't have to use any heat or anything of that nature, so I'm not going to worry about replacing this gasket because that one looks to be in pretty good shape that came on the sump. So I'm going to go ahead and do all this, put it back together. Again, don't forget your governor and make sure that your governor goes back in the correct spot when you close the sump cover. That's a big one. So remember that. We'll scrape the gasket off and we'll see what we have here. Alrighty, y'all, I'm going to give you an overhead view. Never really done this before, or the overhead view, but I put the sump gasket back on. Now I put the sump gasket on, put the governor back in it. Don't forget the governor, that's big. Make sure it goes on that arm. And then I just kind of slid this on into the tabs. I put a little bit of RTV on the edges, on the corners, because that gasket was so crinkled up in the package. That's just the way that they package it. So this one, since it's got the oil pump on it, we're going to put the oil pump back on. I would recommend taking it off in order to put this sump gasket back on because you have to fit it in this groove, and it's nearly impossible unless you have it at the exact timing point that you had it earlier, which we don't. So we're just going to pop this back in, and it should fall down into a groove, which I think it did. Yeah, there we go. You'll see it fall down into the groove right there. To take it off, it's just 3 5/16. I'll show you the process of putting it back together. That way, hopefully, you'll be able to take it off the same way. There's that little star piece, and then this little plus-looking piece, whatever you want to call it. And you can just work it around until it falls into place. So we got to get, let's see, so you have to twist this some more in order to get it to fall into place here. So, alright, so we're going to turn the engine some now. Let's see, we need to go back this way. This should fall down into place once we get it situated. Let's see. Yeah, what way are we going here? Let's try that. There we go. Now we'll put the cover back on it. With your 3 5/16. Thread them in there first. Remember, you're going into aluminum, so you don't want to tighten the mess out of them. You don't want to strip it. We're going to go very easy with this. Okay, come back. You should probably use a quarter on this. Just be very careful if you use a 3/8 though. Oh, they're plenty tight. That's plenty good. Okay, so the sump, we have these 10 bolts. Now what you have to do is there's some tabs that you have to push the sump down into, and they have to kind of lock into those tabs. Once you get it locked in, you can kind of work it down. I did in this case. It was maybe a gap like that. So I knew that I was in there, and I knew that it was nice on the seal. All I wanted to do then is to get it to compress, and so what I did is I put one bolt on each end and just very easily just kind of use the impact to get them to seat to the block, and that worked. So now what we're going to do, each of these is supposed to be torqued to, it said 180 inch-pounds. I saw 150. 150 to 180, we're going to do 180. That's about 15 foot-pounds on the torque wrench. We're going to use the little one here. Get it 15 pounds. Let's see, that should be 10 and 15 right there. Tighten it up. Just go on a star pattern. Again, I did not put these on very tight. So, 1/2 inch socket. Click. We're just going to go on the star pattern here. Come on. There we go. Get the 4 corners. I'm sure there's a specified way to do this. Just go side. Go on each side until you get them kind of all down. I think I've already done this one. Yep. Let's do this one next. The last thing you want it to do is be leaking oil on you. And since I'm doing this for a customer, I'm doing it to spec as well. I think I got them all. Maybe all except for that one. Yeah. We're just going to go around and check them all now. I think I missed this one. This was this one. Well, we had a good seal across the entire thing, so we should be all right in that aspect. Okay, so that's all back on the way that it needs to be. I'm going to go ahead and put it back on the mower over here. Hope y'all enjoyed that overhead shot. I'm going to try and implement that more now that I've got my bench and everything a little bit more organized. I also cleaned off the gasket. I don't remember if I showed y'all that. But we've got that going. It looks like we have a good seal everywhere. And so I'm going to turn the mower back on its feet, or on its wheels, whatever. I'm going to try and set the engine in on the bolts that are already sticking out, and hopefully we'll be able to get that in, and that way we can just bolt it up after that. But first, actually, let's do this before I forget and make it much more difficult on me. Let's see if I can do this. We'll put this back in. Always a challenge to put a flywheel key back, or put a key back in here. Let's see if pliers will do it. Let me see if I can get it the direction that it was. So it was in that direction, which means it should go back that direction. There we go. Okay. And then, oh, the drive disc, or the, I guess the drive pulley, right? Lightly tapping. Rubber hammer here, guys. Rubber hammer. Let's see. I see what I'm doing. I'm pulling the key down with it, so make life a little faster here, right? Okay. Really? Huh. Oh, okay. It went down then. There we go. That's better. Still not exactly. I don't think we'll need this anymore. Look, these are things that I try and show y'all in my videos to show that it's not all hunky-dory and peaches and roses and, you know, stuff like this. Because there are some channels that do. There are many of us that don't, which is encouraging to see. But, like I said, some channels do. And that's not the case. Oftentimes. So it looks like we got this thing on there now. Maybe I should try it this way. What do y'all think? Maybe I should. Probably doing it the hard way now, but. all honesty, I'm just trying to beat the flywheel key down, because now I have to get it to where the drive, so I have to adjust it, and I believe it was right there to where the drive disc, let's see, aha. So we're going to go where the old marks were for the drive disc. So why not, right? Because it worked. I have the screws. Right here. I'll find the screws, but I'll show you what I'm doing. I'll go ahead and do that off camera since I'm wasting a bunch of time here. We're 13 minutes in on this clip alone. So, let me pull this up. So what I'm doing, I don't know how well y'all can see it, but we're gonna... Hard to do with one hand here, guys, sorry. But I don't know if the little indentation that the Allen key is made, or the Allen screw is made right there, that's the same height we're gonna put this pulley back so that it'll contact the drive disc. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, put those screws back in, and I'll go ahead and get it on the mower, and I'll catch up with you when I get it on the mower. Alright guys, I can hear a it sounds like it's working properly. I've got the park brake on, I've got the thing in neutral, and so I'm just turning it by hand on the flywheel. And I can turn it pretty much with one hand, which is good. I don't remember it being this easy to turn, so that's a good sign. Like I said, I've got everything back on. You just pop it in there, and everything marries up to the disc as long as you, the drive disc, as long as you have that pulley length right. So we're in good shape on that. Yeah, so I think it's just a matter of plugging stuff back in, you know, and making sure it all works right. I think that goes there. No, it doesn't. They make it idiot-proof, folks. Here we go. Because there's no headlights on that, so. Alright, there. I just plugged in the switch for the anti-backfire solenoid. We'll pop this back on, tighten the nut back up. The only thing I can think of, if it was not the compression release, is that the starter is weak, and that's almost never the case on these Inteks. That would be a huge rarity if that was the case. So I'm just putting this starter nut back on. Just tighten it up good. Don't over tighten it. Just make sure it's on there nice and firm. Okay. What else do we have to plug in here? I got a complete mess on my hands. Throttle cable. That's just mostly gauging where it was. So we're going to put it all the way up to full throttle, which is right about there. Get me a 5/16 and tighten that up. Now this is the delicate stuff because you want it to you don't want to strip this mess out, you know. Latching on to it now. I had to take this throttle cable out pretty far in order for it to work. Okay, there. Choke. Any further to go? Ah, that's far enough. Could probably adjust it in a little bit more. There we go. Choke, full throttle, choke, full throttle. Throttle, choke. Probably back it off just maybe a tad, but it's coming back right off the choke whenever it does that, so I don't see any problems. Okay. This wire plugged into somewhere. Oh, I think I got that. Let's see. I have to find that wire. Alright, so that's kind of the gist of it. I just gotta find where I plug that wire in and I'll be good to go. And I'm gonna go ahead and put oil in it, put a battery in it. I will put the pulley back on and get the deck belt routed correctly. I have had a spring come off and I don't know where it went. I think it went somewhere in the drivetrain and I don't know where it went. So we'll run it and see how it looks. And also I adjusted the valves to spec. So about, what was it for intake 3 to 5 and 4 to 6, something like that. Or 3 to 5 and 5 to 7. So we got that going as well. Alright, y'all, I don't know about y'all, but this is the part where I kind of get a little nervous. 12.76 volts on the battery. New camshaft. Valves are adjusted correctly. Oil's in it. I haven't put the gas in it or anything yet. Park brake. Blades are off. What do y'all say? Let's see if it'll turn over on its own. I hope it does. I hope this crankshaft or this camshaft fixed it. That is very good. So why in the world will it crank like this now? And then the other camshaft we have over there didn't. Baffles me, right? I'm going to go ahead and put everything back the way that it needs to. I have to clean out the fuel tank. I need to put y'all on the charger because you're about dead. And I will come back when I am ready to fire this thing. That is extremely encouraging, though. I had an unsuccessful replacement before, and so sounds like this one's going to be all right. So let me go ahead and do those items while I put you on the charger, and I'll rejoin you as soon as I'm ready to start it. All right, y'all. Moment of truth here. I'm going to pull it out of the garage a little bit, and then I am going to crank it up and see if it'll run. Hopefully I did everything right. That's always get a little nervous here. So let's see what we can do. out hopefully once it warms up. I don't want to go full revs on it right off the top. Oh, that is so nice. Rip it out right yet. Let's just see if we can drive it around. Oh yeah. Cruising along, friends. I want to give it a good break-in period. So I'm gonna let it run for about 10 minutes. Clean up the tools over here and I'll rejoin you then. Alrighty, y'all, I just ran it for about 15 minutes. I blew off, I'll show you real quick. Blew off parts of the driveway, just cruising up and down. Runs great. No knocking, no smoking. I was actually kind of surprised it didn't even smoke putting it back together since I had it apart. Just a little bit of oil burning off of the block and whatnot from where I had my hands on it. You could barely smell it. Let's crank it back up while it's hot and see if it'll restart for us. That's awesome. That is fantastic. Still likes to backfire sometimes, but I tell you what, let me grab my stool and we'll end this thing right here. Give me just a second. Alright, make sure y'all can see me too. So Doug, Mr. Tecumseh, Henry Mowers and Blowers, Chris from Chris X Outdoors, and Ben, Bronze Chicken, Mr. B-Man 2000 on Instagram. Thank you. I'm not crazy. I tried to eliminate any and all possibility of anything else that it could be, and it turned out, as you can see, that it was the compression release. So I guess the lesson learned here is, even if the compression release looks good, it may not be good. We also did not rule out the fact that it could possibly have skipped a tooth or two and thrown the timing off internally. We don't know if that's the case or not. That's the mystery in all of this. But I do know one thing, resetting the timing if it needed to be reset and a new compression release fixed the issue. As you can tell, I mean, so it's running beautifully. Starting great. It's always run pretty well. So the mystery of this mower has been solved. We have done a bunch of things to it. Full transparency, I filmed part 1 a long time ago, probably about 4 months before this. Thought I had it fixed, and then I ran into the compression release issue. I needed to finish the house. I got the house finished. This was the first thing I jumped on. And a couple of afternoons, maybe about 3 hours worth of work at the most. And that hex bit set. Later, this thing's fixed. Call up my neighbor and tell him that it is good to go. It's always a good feeling. I've got a tiller that I'm fixing for him as well, and a second snapper. We're not going to forget that one. I will let you know what he decides to do with that one. I can show you real quick though while we're out. I know this video is very lengthy, but I don't know if he wants to do anything, just for the simple fact of the condition of the deck down here. And on this, on this side as well. So it's a little rotted out there on the front, kind of under everything. I could probably get that one going for about pretty cheap too. Everything that I did on this mower, I charged him right about $250 for. Again, if I were a shop, it'd have been much more than that probably. But since I do this out of my garage, the amount of time I had to work on it, I figured I've got maybe, if it wasn't self-inflicted, maybe 5 hours or so in it. So you're talking about $40 to $50 an hour, roughly. Again, like I said, I do it on the side. But anyways, that's the end of this one. Thank y'all for watching. Again, Doug, Mr. Tecumseh, Henry, Chris X Outdoors, my two fellow friends right here. If y'all want to add to this and you have a sticker, send it to me. I'll send one of mine. Or if you want one of my stickers, I need to put one on my cabinet, right? If you want one of my stickers, reach out on Instagram. I'm at Ellis Mowers 09. Facebook, Ellis Mowers. Right here on YouTube at Ellis Mowers. Thank y'all so much for the support. I hope y'all enjoyed this video and enjoyed this fix. This mystery fix almost of this snapper. Number 1's done. I just need to put the plastic panels and stuff back on right there for the battery, and she'll be ready to ride. Thanks again, guys. Catch you on the next one.